Hey, good morning, guys. Oh, let me get this together. Hey, good morning, guys. KL here. And I wanted to get on today to talk about how confidence can equal professional success. I see all the self-help videos and I see all the self-help books, and we all need to find people that help motivate us, that give us influence when we read. But at the end of the day, your internal confidence, you have to find a way to master that if you're going to be professionally successful or successful as a professional, whichever way you want to look at it. Now, many of you know that I am an author. Hey, JP, what's up, love? Feeling better today? You know I got your back, right? Just let me know. Down in Philly with the ski mask or whatever else you need. I just ain't digging no holes. I'm just saying. But many of you know that I'm an author. Now, many of you may have not seen me because I am not a person that runs with cliques. So no, you're not going to see me in the midst of a group of authors. But yes, I do. Hey, Lady E, how we doing? Happy belated birthday. But I am connected to many authors. I will reach out, help, and work with and talk to as many authors that I can. But you will not see me running with groups of authors because it's not what I do. That's not the type of person that I am. My confidence is such that I look internally at what I know I can do and what I can't do. And then I push hard after whatever I'm after. So I don't have time for pity. I don't have time for sympathy. I don't have time for a lot of those negative emotions that a lot of people have. Because if you're planning on being successful in whatever you're trying to do, you have to go out and make it happen. Now, I want to go through some things with you. So I'm going to take you off my handsome face. Yes, I'm a little vain this morning. I went and got a haircut. Finally, I'm not looking like a grizzly bear. And a shave, too. You know, that's how us men take care of ourselves. It's Take Care of Yourself Friday. But I just want to go through some things to show you what I'm talking about confidence. When I first started writing back in 2007 professionally, you could have never told me I was going to write a book because I was a horrible student in English. I'm not a person that does a lot of reading now in terms of for fun. I read for information. I read for a lot of various reasons, but not for entertainment. I also don't read what a lot of other people read. So sometimes when authors talk to me, they get offended, but I'm not offending you when I say I don't read what you write. It's because I don't. I read comics. I read a lot of nonfiction. I read a lot of reference books, some historical books. Plus, I have ADD, so I may be reading anything at any particular day. So I don't want anybody. Hey, how you doing? Hello, Alicia. How are you? And so what I want to take you through when talking about confidence is I want to show you something. Okay, here we go. This cover here, which some of you see the author, Mary B. Morrison, the famous honeybee, Mary B. Morrison, the queen of erotica. Well, back in 2007, I did an interview, and she heard me on an interview talking about my wife and I, and reached out to me and said she wanted me to write something for her book. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. I am a man of God. I'm a Christian. The queen of erotica wants me to write something for her book. This can't be good. But then I thought about it. I caught myself. The negative was starting to creep in. I said, wait a minute. She heard who I was in the interview. She reached out to me. But I turned to my wife, and that's another thing too. Have someone that you can turn to that you trust. And I said, what should I do, honey? She said, do what she asked you. She asked you to write about us, write about us. And that's what I did. So I wrote my 3,000 words, submitted it to her, never heard back from her. I was like, I done screwed up. Here, this woman who is nationally known wanted me to write something, and I messed up by sticking to my faith and all this other stuff. But again, I stayed confident. And I thought about it. If she called me and I have her number in my phone, well, then I can call her back. And that's exactly what I did. Almost 3 weeks later, I called her back and I said, hello, Miss Morrison. This is KL Belvin. I submitted my story. I didn't hear from you. What's going on? And she was shocked. She said, wait a minute. My people didn't get in touch with you? I said, not at all, ma'am. She said, oh, I loved your story. I wouldn't change anything. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Please understand this. I had not published anything at that point. She said to me, I write fantasy, which my readers love, but what you and your wife have is real, and my readers need to see that and understand that. Here's a woman making a ridiculous amount of money, still does, on what she writes, but love what my wife and I had and what I had written. And so, sure enough, yeah, Christians are erotic, but they're not necessarily publicly erotic. There's a difference. I never said Christians weren't erotic. You got to understand the difference, and that's a scope that I could get into, because I think many church folks lose that fact. It is how you promote the eroticism. I used to be an erotic writer, but I could not do that because I wasn't going to put anything out in the world that was going to cause somebody to possibly fall down from what they might have overcame. But yeah, Christians are erotic, and they should be, especially if you're married. I know my wife and I are erotic, but that's another story for another day. Anyway, so that came out in 2007. So if you have Mary B. Morrison's book and you go to page 246 in her hardcover, well, listen, I understand. And if that's where a person wants to take it, I can't argue with you. If that's what you're selling, that's fine. I just don't. I don't knock anyone's hustle. The one thing that I have come to learn, and what I am trying to work on with a lot of Christian folks, is you never knock anybody's hustle. If you don't do it, state why you don't do it, and that's it. I don't. What other people do and what they choose to do and how they choose to do it, that works. I don't buy it. I don't read it, and it's cool. Listen, if people love it, do what you got to do. So from there, I wasn't going to allow my confidence to stop. So I decided that it was time to release my book, which was my poetry book, which is, here it is, A Man in Transition, which was my first book published by me. And I decided to put, oh, no doubt, dog. Listen, you know what? Acceptance, me accepting you is more about me being a Christian than it's supposed to be. So many Christians mess up. You're supposed to accept folks where they are. You ain't supposed to try to just snatch them up and be like, oh, I want you to be. No, please. I love everybody where they're at, and they have to deal with themselves where they are. Now, they may ask me something. I may say I agree, disagree. And in the end, we all have to make choices that's based on our experiences, our faiths, our beliefs, our non-beliefs. And if you can stand up behind what you believe in, stand on it. I'm going to stand on what I believe in, and we still should be able to sit down, have dinner, and be able to talk. That's all. But a lot of folks forget that. And that's actually why one of my pushes is to get a lot of church folks to come out of church and sit down and have discussions with folks that are not connected to the church. We're losing that. Free will, of course. But it also says not everything that is available to us is good for us. So we have to keep in mind that just because it's free to do doesn't mean that we should do it. But again, that's to each person and have to make their own decision. So in 2008, I released my first book of poetry. Now, let me tell you why this is extremely important to the conversation today of confidence. I was told by so many people, let me see if I can back that up so you can see it a little bit better. I was told by so many people, KL, don't do poetry, poetry doesn't sell, and all this other foolishness. And I heard all the negatives that people were saying. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to sell poetry. I'm going to sell who I am, the man who wrote the poetry, because to me, that's more important than the poetry itself. And sure enough, my poetry was successful. I was invited and was invited a lot of places and did a lot of things that a lot of other poets weren't doing, simply because I stopped making it. I never made it about the poetry. I made it about me. Yes, I had certain poems that I would read when I did interviews. I had certain poems that I would talk about when I was on panel discussions. But I wanted people to understand who the man was, who KL is, was, and will be. And that has always been one of my promotional and marketing tools. And I think it drives me crazy when I see authors, when you ask them to get into a discussion about them, they quickly want to keep going back to their book. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Authors, oftentimes readers will buy you because readers like to know who the person is that's writing. Now, you still need to have a good story, and I did have good poems, but when I explained that one of my poems was dedicated to who my wife was in my life, to my mother, to not being the father that I could have been to my children, so I wasn't Superman, I'm just dad. I would have loved to have been Superman, but I wasn't. I was just dad, and that was hard enough trying to be. So when people started to understand what was behind the poems, who was behind the poems, then they supported it. Then when they read the poems and they were actually good, then people actually bought poetry books. Because I'm going to be real with you. How many people actually go out and buy a poetry book? Not many, if any. And if they do, it's because they heard the person perform, heard the person speak, or heard others say, yo, this poem was so outstanding. But for the most part, hey, how we doing? Ibu, how we doing? If I said that right, Ibu 1. So when we're selling poetry, and I see so many poets who keep publishing all their stuff on Facebook and everywhere else, not realizing that once you publish it there, you can't enter it into contests because they'll say non-published pieces, and there's a reason why. If you look on Facebook, it'll say published, and when you published it, it is no longer a non-published piece, so you can't use it for certain contests and certain articles and certain magazines. And you don't need to do all that. Discuss who you are. Discuss how you come up with your poetry. And your confidence should shine through. Now, as we move on in talking about confidence, because it's very important. Now, this, I think it's right here. And I know if Lady E is still on, Elissa Gabrielle. This book here in 2009, The Soul of a Man, I had a story that was originally an erotic story. Yes, I was an erotic writer and an erotic poet, but I changed my mindset and focus. And I said, well, hey, Lady E. Lady E helped change my life with this book right here, The Soul of a Man. In 2009, I had a poetry book, and I had the book, as I just showed you, with Mary B. Morrison. So I decided to take an erotic story and change it into a story that I felt was going to be reflective of my faith, reflective of my change. And I decided to take a chance, again, because I was confident in who I was, confident in my skills, and I sent it to Peace in the Storm Publications, and the young lady is on right now, Elissa Gabrielle. She has a plethora of authors and plethora of books. Please stop by her site, Peace in the Storm. I believe it's peaceinthestorm.com, but Lady E, please post your link so people can see it. So when I sent it to her, yeah, I was a little nervous. Everybody gets nervous when they're trying to do something new, but my confidence overrided the nervousness because I felt that my work, my ideas, even though I knew I wasn't the strongest writer that I could have been at the time, but listen, this is how you grow. This is how you learn. I sent it. At first, she even said to me, I wasn't sure where you were going with it, KL, but after reading the story and after we touched it up, there's the link, everybody, if you want to check it out right there. Peace in the Storm Publishing.com. www.peaceinthestormpublishing.com. Elissa Gabrielle, one of the most outstanding independent publishers in the game, and actually a wonderful young lady to speak to, talk to, and work with. So when she got back to me and said, KL, you know what? I'm looking at this story, and I got to admit, it's actually pretty good, and I'm going to leave it in the book. I want to offer you an opportunity to be a part of this book, and I was offered a contract to sell the books as well as make profit off the books, and the book turned out to be 2009 Anthology of the Year. We all won an award, and I was so excited when I saw Miss Gabrielle pick up that statue trophy at the award ceremony in that September of 2009, because I knew I was a part of a book that stood with 12 other brothers who came together to show that men can write stories of men overcoming negative situations through their faith. We didn't do the violence. We didn't do a lot of things that people had gotten used to from brothers. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, because if that's what you like, cool. But the book moved people when they read it. And if you look at some of the names, Joe Thomas, Jihad, William Frederick Cooper, Alvin C. Romer, Mark Lacey, Clarence Baba Smith Malak, Brian Ganji, Gerald Imes, K.L. Belvin, Joe Pickney, and I know I wasn't supposed to say my name, Thomas Ashburn Jr., Terrell Devon Floyd, Maurice M. Gray Jr., and Edric Dewan. Names of people who had already been in the game before me, and it was an outstanding, and we became the Soul Brothers. Now that's important because this coming Christmas, part 2 of that book, here we go, is coming out, and I was invited to come back. That's how I know I did what I was supposed to do in 2009, is that Miss Gabrielle was like, yes, I want you to be a part of it. I was like excited. And the story that I wrote, I'm not giving anything away. You got to read it as one that I believe is going to give you even more insight to who I am and what I'm about. But also the names on this one, again, outstanding. Zach Tate, Shaquem Edmonds, H.M. Trey, myself, again, and that's what Alvin K. Romer, Ricky Teams II, Robert Grant, Andre Jones, Maurice M. Gray Jr., Alvin L.A. Horn, Adrian Millan, Brian Ganji, Cyrus Webb, Memphis Vaughn Jr., Isaiah David Paul, and Mark Lacey, all outstanding men in their own right in the literary game. But for me, my confidence lets me know that I did what I was supposed to do then, and again, it paid itself forward, because here 6 years later, we're a part of something, I'm a part of something else, and that is what you have to understand if you're watching this, is that your confidence is critical in your professional success. Oh, no problem. Thank you. I appreciate the support. And I'll definitely check you out. This is what we do. We have to look out to support each other. I definitely appreciate it. And anyone that's listening on replay, please share. And if you guys are listening, listen. I'm learning that these hearts are important. So you better start tapping that screen. I want to see hearts. I'm on my vanity thing right now. Give me some hearts. I want some hearts right now. Somebody give me a heart. That's what I'm talking about. I'm good. My addiction has been fixed. But yes, it's very important. So the key thing that I'm saying right now is that you have to be confident in what you're trying to do. Now, let me just go back a second. This is the cover of my book, From Gigolo to Jesus. And again, why this is important is my wife made me stop writing everything else that I was working on. I had been a part of other anthologies. I was selling my first book. I was doing a lot of different things. She said, stop. You need to let people know how you made that transition from the nasty Horace type man that you were to the man of God that you are, so people can see that. I was a little nervous about putting my history down on paper. I was a little nervous about, is that something that I really want to expose the world to? Because I hadn't been the new man that long. I had been the dirty man for 30-something years, 37 years. I had been the whore and the perv, or whatever you want to call me, for 37 years. I've only been this clean, upright dude for about 3 or 4 or 5. But listening to my wife and allowing my confidence to take over, I decided, you know what? I'm going to put this out. From Gigolo to Jesus was born. And on the cover it actually says, a journey from misogyny to monogamy. And a misogynist is someone who hates women. And I was at a panel discussion, and someone said to me, how could you call yourself a misogynist? And I said, simple. When you've been a part of the number of miscarriages and abortions and the number of women that I've mistreated, how could you say you love them? How could you cheat on your wife, your girlfriend? How could you cheat on everybody that you've ever been with and never actually knew what monogamy was and not say you hate women? I think it's the fact it was nothing but hate. And the reason why it was hate, because I was never taught how to love women, how to appreciate who women are, to understand that women are our counterparts, not our playthings, not things to abuse, but when all you've been around is that. When a men around you teach you that. When the older men who should actually be saying to you, yo, young bro, don't be that. Instead, I was like, I'm going to be it because that's what I was taught. I was taught you take her virginity because you want her to be connected to you forever. So now I'm possessing people, or trying to. And I was living that way. And a lot of young men live that way today. And this is the reason why this book is an example of my confidence, because I needed to get this out. And once it was out, I didn't worry about sales. I worried about who I could reach and who I could help. And I'm going to tell you something that is extremely important behind this book. Many authors acted like I didn't exist, and they still do. What's funny is when I talk to them, I go, I was at that event with you. Really? I even showed one author that we were in pictures together, and he didn't even know who I was. But it's okay. You know why? The minute that I landed in Black Expressions Book Club, the minute that my book was there, the minute that they gave me that upfront check, and now my book was in Ebony Magazine, Jet Magazine, wherever, I don't know, listen, wherever it went, I started getting calls, emails, inboxes, text messages. Yo, bruh, congratulations on From Gigolo to Jesus. Book been out for a year now. And how'd you do it? So I was waiting, because they would give me the compliment, but I was wondering, here it comes. So how'd you get in Black Expressions? I've been trying to get with them and trying to do this. And the funny thing is, you know how my book got in Black Expressions? By having a conversation that had nothing to do with books. I had a wonderful conversation with the woman. We talked. We were just enjoying each other's conversation, just being able to discuss the world. And when she asked me, was I an author? I said, yeah. She said, well, I'd love to read what you write. I said, I'll give you a copy. It's no problem. So I sent her a free copy, my author friends. Stop trying to hold everybody up. I sent her a free copy, and sure enough, that's how I got into Black Expressions Book Club. And now the whole country saw what I was writing, saw who I was. And I still don't hang out. I'm still not part of any cliques, and my confidence is just on swole as it ever been. But the idea is we have to allow our confidence to push us forward into areas, into arenas that we may not be comfortable, may not have the most experience with. So you can learn as much as you want on YouTube. You can learn as much as you want here on Periscope. You can talk to as many people as you want to talk to. Nothing is going to teach you more about what to do and what not to do until you actually get yourself out there and do it, fall flat on your face, or gain so much success that everyone hates you. Either one, you got to learn from that. So my latest book, this one right here, Lukewarm Saint, is actually my attempt at writing fiction. My extended attempt, because my first story in Soul of a Man is fiction. But in this one, it's a novella that's actually turning into a novel because I'm close to 50,000 words. And I'm confident in what I put down. And I'm not worried about reviews. I'm not worried about negativity. You know why? Because I don't write for any of that. I write right from the center of my heart. I put down the things that I feel are interesting to people. I then make sure that I have someone who's going to edit it so it's actually written in English, read in English, sounds like English, and then I let it go. I'm not worried. I remember when I got a review from Gigolo to Jesus. The woman gave me the worst review I think a person could ever have. I was like, oh my God. She called me all type of names. You know why I smiled? Because that was the same week another woman gave me $1,000 up front and said, we'll now sell your book for you. So then I thought to myself, who was more important to me? Actually, they both were important, because I went and looked at the negatives that she wrote down and realized that some of them were true. There were errors and there were some editing things that I needed to address. So I had it redone, and I'm actually going to re-release From Gigolo to Jesus based on her review. So she don't know it, but she was pivotal in helping me. But at the same time, it didn't spoil my confidence, because if one woman is willing to give me $1,000 when another woman is willing to tear me down, I'm doing something. And you got to say the same things to yourself. You're doing something. Confidence requires that you feed it, because if you don't, your confidence can dissipate. Your confidence can disappear if you allow it to happen. I don't believe in that. So let me switch this back. Enough about all of that. So as I bring this to a close, I simply really say this. Your confidence is so important in your professional success, because no one wants to do business with somebody who's unsure of themselves. Nobody wants to feel the negative that comes from somebody who's not comfortable in what they're doing. No one wants to be around someone who has doubts about everything that they're doing. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not trying to rock with you if you're not confident. Because if you're not confident about you, I can't do nothing for you. I can only tell you what the good things are going to be. I can tell you what bad things are going to happen. But if you don't move, we're not going to know which is going to be. Now, do we? So sometimes I hear people go, well, KL, how do you stay so confident? Well, that's about faith. And we can definitely talk about faith, and I will another time. But my faith is what pushes me. But also the fact that I know I have some type of talent. I know that my talent can help other people. I have seen my talent help other people. Now, have I made as much money as other authors? I don't care, because other authors don't make as much money as me, because I am a teacher. So I don't stress, because money's going to come to people who are diligent. If you're diligent and you do the things necessary, money will come. I'm not worried about that. If I told you how much I made as a teacher, you'd think I was stealing from the Department of Education. Sometimes I feel like I am. But for what I do, listen. But what I'm saying is, if you're an author and your confidence is such that you don't want to venture out of the realm of what you've written in, if you don't want to consider other genres, if you don't want to listen to an editor that says that's not proper English and nobody wants to read that, if you're mad because it's going to cost you money, so your confidence starts to, well, maybe the book's not that good if she got to keep editing it. No, maybe the story is outstanding, but your writing needs work. Okay, that's what editors are for. Stop trying to, in certain things, you can't duck around it. Certain things got to be done. I look at it as like medicine. I really do. Sometimes medicine just has to be given. No applesauce, no nothing sweet. Open your mouth, take it, shut up and get better. And I know sometimes I can sound harsh, and I know sometimes I can sound cruel. I don't do sympathy. I'm telling you honestly, I do empathy. I don't do sympathy. I will put myself in your shoes so I can try to figure out how to help you. But I'm not going to sit and sympathize with you. Oh, that's messed up. Man, that's really sad. No, what you going to do? Like my grandmother taught me. So what are you going to do now? This person died. What are you going to do? You lost this. What are you going to do? The book didn't sell. What are you going to do? Once you figure out what you're going to do, I'm with you. Let's go. I got you. And anybody that's on this stream right here can tell you, if they know me personally, all you have to do is ask. I'll pray for you. Ask. I'll help you out where I can. I can't always give money. I'm not I'm not that great yet. If I get to that point that I can just throw cash out the window if you need it, I got you. Yes, you have to dust yourself off and try again. But you know how many people fold up once they fall down? Fold up and go, I guess it didn't happen. I guess it wasn't for me. I guess it wasn't. And you know, when I was a life coach, I used to show the movie A Pursuit of Happiness. Not the whole movie. I used to just show the scene of him in the bathroom with his son, with his foot up against the wall, the door, when the guy was knocking on the door. And I would say to them, do you think he knew at that moment right there that he was going to be a multi-millionaire? Hell no. What he knew was that he had to get through that night to protect his son, get to that shelter, and finish a gig that he wasn't even getting paid for. That's all he knew was that moment. At that moment, I got to get through this night because I didn't make it to the shelter tonight. So I got to protect my son to get through this evening laying on a bathroom floor, because the next day I got to get up, get him to the daycare, get to the job that doesn't pay me, get back to the shelter at night, and hope that I can make it through another day. There was no way he knew then he was going to be a multi-millionaire. Just like there's no way you know what it's going to be. But I can tell you this, if you do nothing, you get nothing. So your confidence has to be on such a swole that other people around you think you arrogant. That other people around you go, yo, why you talk like that? Why you act like that? Because you have no idea what I want. You have no idea what I'm trying to go after. You have no idea what I'm willing to do to get to what I want. Short of committing crimes, we don't support committing crimes. But your confidence has to be such like that, because I'm going to tell you what it does. Weak people will slowly ease away from you because they're scared of you. Other people whose confidence is like yours will start to gravitate to you because they're going to be like, that's what I'm talking about. See, he get it. She get it. It was that way when I coached. It was that way when I played ball. It was that way when I was dating. It was that way when I was whoring. Yes, I ain't gonna lie. My mindset was what it was. But my character has always been one of aggression. When I walked into a club as a player, I sat down and watched other dudes and said, which one of these soft dudes can help me get the chick that I'm after? So I'd wait till they played their whatever foolish game they played, and I'd simply walk up to the woman and go, I want to apologize for how weak he was. Introduce myself and say, hopefully before the night is over, you and I can get to dance or get to know each other, and then I'd walk away, because no woman likes a thirsty dude. But a lot of dudes don't get that, and most women don't like a thirsty dude. Just like most folks don't like a thirsty author. Stop trying to beat people over the head with your book and talk to them. Stop trying to run up on them and push the book in their face and make them feel so uncomfortable that they buy it just so you get away from them. And then you complain why they don't write reviews. You complain why they don't come back to your website. And also another thing, stop pimping other websites that when no one's pimping yours. Stop trying to support folks that are not supporting you, that don't even speak to you. Your confidence has to be such that you're like, you're not doing for me? Why am I doing for you? We can do for each other, but you're not going to use me. See, that's another thing about having your confidence on swole, is that you're not going to allow somebody to use you because your time is so valuable that when they can't show you what the outcome is going to be, yo, get away from me. I ain't got time for that. That is why you don't see me at so many authors events. You don't see me in groups. Not that I don't peek in, read, and keep it moving. It is because I don't have time, nor do I really get a kick out of banter back and forth with cats who ain't talking about nothing. And I don't want to go hang out with you and 3 other people and stand on the corner trying to beat people up to sell books. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing for you. It's not for me. That's not where I'm at. I want to sit and have real conversations that lead to multiple books being sold to multiple people for multiple reasons. I can't do that trying to get you to stop on the corner from wherever you're going. But I can do that when I set up a meeting with you. I can do that when I set up an opportunity for us to get together, have something to eat, and talk about how my book can do this in your church, can do this in your school, how I can come to your church, how I can come to your school and speak to those individuals about what's in the book, and then I can help them also. Or I can write this and I can write that. So the idea is that we have to get to that point that our confidence is that flag that we carry out in front of us. Our confidence is such that when people see it, they gravitate to you and just go, please show me how you got there. Why do you think so many people are led astray by people in power? Because they want to be behind confident people so much that people have learned to manipulate that to their benefit. As a man who used to be the wolf, I'm now the shepherd. And as the shepherd, I sit and watch a lot of wolves and laugh. Because the shepherd and the wolf is the same individual. It's just what they want is different. Understand that. Let me say that again. The shepherd and the wolf is the same dude. It's just a question of what is his mindset. So with that, I'm going to say I thank everyone who popped on and gave me some hearts. Because I'm digging this heart thing now. I'm starting to learn that the hearts are part of this. So I definitely like that. And anyone that watches this in replay, please share. And anybody that wants to reach out to talk to me or build with me, www.mainoffice@bravenpublishing.com. I am on every website. Look up KL Belvin. My brand is simple. It's me. That's why I don't come up with no crazy names. It's KL Belvin on Google+, KL Belvin on Facebook, KL Belvin here on Periscope, KL Belvin on Twitter. Also Braven Books on Twitter, and Braven Publishing is my website. But all you have to do is look for, you have to look for KL Belvin and you'll find me. And so I really do hope that you replay this. I do hope that you pass this on. And if you look for me and we talk, let's build something. Let's put something together. Because I got a couple of books that are coming out. And we can look to support each other and do the things that we got to do. But as I told you, my confidence is on swole because I control me. Take care. God bless.